Surviving your first mining job. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and today's video is about how people can best survive their first mining job. So on our Facebook page, Australian Mining for New Starters, there's been a fair few questions recently about how people can best go about surviving and what they can do to not become a statistic. Now, these are with mostly the entry-level jobs, so the hard rock underground and exploration jobs tend to have the higher turnover, whereas the traineeships that go for 12 months or 24 months, they tend to don't have as much high turnover, but they still do have turnover, those ones. But for today's video, we're going to concentrate in on somebody like Barminco that has got entry-level jobs going in New South Wales, Queensland and WA. Now, the way the system works is that you go to site and then they teach you everything that they think that you need to know. And once you do that, they put you by yourself and away you go. And it becomes sink or swim training, unfortunately. So the best way to survive your first 6 months is to go in with some mining knowledge behind you. On this channel, we recommend the Intro to Underground Mining course, the DIY one. And if we log into that as mining coach, so I'm going to log into my account, my mining coach account, and it comes up like this. And you've got the 4 courses that you can go through. And if you click on it, it takes you through to the different content. And we're going to do surviving the first 12 months on site. We're going to expand that out and have a look at a couple of these pages. The first one is surviving the first 12 months on site. It's got a lot of good information in there about what to do and what not to do. And then it goes into, once you get to site, the culture, the carton system, what you have to do, how the camp works, dry mess, wet mess, gym, when you arrive, what's going to happen. So it goes into a great deal of detail all the way through about what's going to happen, and all the modules do that. They teach you exactly what you're going to need to know down there. Now, why is that important? Because unfortunately with all these entry-level jobs, it instantly turns into sink or swim training, because when you get to site, you're on the employer's timeline and they want to get you up to speed as quickly as possible. So normally they want somebody up to speed within a month, 2 months tops. So if you're still having to be asked, you're still asking basic questions after a couple of months, then chances are you're going to get a tap on the shoulder. Now, unfortunately, these entry-level jobs do have a high turnover, with more than 50% of people not making it. Now, at this stage too, I just want to say that none of the employers hire people that they don't think are competent and they don't think that are going to be any good at it. Everybody that goes to site appears competent. It just unravels from there. So if you patting yourself on the back, or you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm competent and I'm a fast learner, well, I've seen heaps of people over the years in exactly that boat get caught out, because when you're on their timeline, you have to learn it within that time. And if you don't pick it up and you don't get it, or it doesn't appear like you're going to pick it up or get it, then that could be that could cause a problem for you. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where everybody involved now is just used to a lot of turnover, and so they're looking for people that they don't think are going to make it. But like I said, you know, HR and the foremans and the project managers, they don't hire anybody that they don't think's not competent. They'd never send anybody to site that they didn't think at some stage, you know, that this person was competent and that they were well put together. And, you know, everybody that goes to site pretty much falls into that category. But unfortunately, you know, people don't pick things up as quickly as they want, or they get confused, or they get to site and they find out that mining really isn't for them. This isn't what I signed up for. And that's, again, one of the best things about the course. You can spend $450 and you can find out whether it's going to be exactly for you or not, because it tells you warts and all what you're getting yourself into. And if you don't want to do it, then it's only cost you $450 and you've got off really lightly, because I've watched many people relocate, and this is a map of gold mines in Australia. I've watched so many people relocate from the eastern states to the west here, somewhere like Kalgoorlie or Perth, to get a mining job, and only to last a week or 2 weeks in it because it's not what they wanted, or they've made a silly mistake first up and they got tramped or got a window seat. And it happens all the time, you know. So if you do prepare yourself properly before you go, it makes a huge difference about whether you're going to make it or not. So the advice that I always try and give new starters, especially when you're going for these entry-level roles, is that the more you know before you go, the better off you are, and you need to prepare for the fact that we're in a mining boom and there's not a lot of experienced people around. So there's every chance that the person that's going to be training you has only just been trained themselves. So that's another good reason why the course is so valuable, because it gives you all that insider knowledge that you need, that you would get taught down the hole by an experienced person. So if that experienced person doesn't turn out to be, that experienced, then you've got something to fall back on, and you've got something to, grasp and be able to use to, make the most of the job. And because unfortunately, there's somebody asked me on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, where do people go wrong? And, it's an endless list of, mistakes people make. But the one thing that it always comes back down to is the fact that they don't have a firm understanding of how the mine works, what everybody does, and, what their job there is, and how to do it productively. Because you've got to look at it from the employer's point of view with all these entry-level jobs. For you to be able to make it, and for them to be able to put you into one of these jobs full time, then the supervisor and the shift boss and the senior members of crew all have to be comfortable enough that you're going to be able to do your job by yourself. And that's the area, that's where you want to get to, where you're just another member of crew. Nobody's having to watch you and nobody's having to babysit you. But unfortunately, when you go in green and there's not a lot of information first up, and you don't get told everything when you go in green. You get a very company-oriented view of what you're going into. And sometimes when you get to site, it can be information overload because they want you to do it a different way, or they want you to do something else. And so if you're still trying to work out what a bogger is and what a jumbo is and where the escapeways are and what a refuge chamber is and for and all that sort of stuff, at the same time that you're trying to learn how to drive the truck, you can pretty easily see where things go sideways. One of the things that I like about, because I do the Work Ready program with underground training, so if you want to get in contact and talk about that, you just have to fill out one of these website inquiry forms and I'll get in contact with you. But one of the good things about doing the course, and you can always tell when somebody really gets how the course is supposed to operate and what's it all about, is that the first thing they normally say to you is that, holy shit, thank God I did the training. I completely understand how somebody could get overwhelmed and could become a statistic very quickly. And when you do the training and have a look at it properly, you see how easily it is for things to go pear-shaped, and how the training, just by the way it is, and not by anybody's fault or anything like that, it's just the way it is, turns over so many people. And, that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to help people make a positive start to their mining career with all this, and make sure that they are the full bottle so they can make it past that 6-month mark and get their first job. So I hope that answers, people's questions about surviving, your first mining job. It's all about, getting as productive as quick as you can. And for that, you need to find your feet as quick as you can. And so that's what it's all about. Now, if you've got any more questions that you'd like answered, please send them through. If you could like the video and share it around and subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful. Thanks.